Welcome to Chapter 4. We're looking at your certificates homepage and what's on that. Going from the homepage of all the courses, select via the navigation your certificate. In this case, we'll go to Certificate 3, but if you're enrolled in Certificate 4, you would select that, or in the Diploma, you would select that. The format on the homepage will be the same for each. You remember you can also use your left-hand navigation, and I've put the block out here and so that you could also access it from the side navigation. This is what you'll then see once you go into your certificate. Now each of your certificates will be a different colour, and it will be clearly denoted that you're in Certificate 3, 4 or Diploma. Now there's some features on this homepage that's important that you feel very comfortable with. Down the side you will see these little boxes. Now these little boxes are there for you to tick when you have completed. So I'm just removing those because this I'm pretending that I'm going in there for the first time. And so all of these would be blank for you. Now the first thing that I would like you to do is to go into the hide icon here on your home page, and you will find a number of chapters which deal with some very important issues that you need to address. Firstly, you'll just find a brief welcome. Then in Chapter 2, you will actually be able to access your course outline. There is a chapter there on RPL. Now we have some new tools which I'll be putting up here in your RPL option, and it's called Skills Locker, which is a beautiful new tool that we have where you can actually visually record as well as upload documents to give you that facility of communicating with us about recognition of prior learning. In Chapter 4 for this, there's a list of all the competencies for each of the units that are presented in this unit, which you can open and download. There's just some rules and responsibilities. Chapter 6, which is your course timetable, is an important one for you to actually have a look at, and I would suggest recommend to you that you would actually download this document. I would download it and have it close to where you're working all the time. Now in this document, it's got approximate times for you to spend on each unit, when you start it and when you complete it. Now this is purely up to you to keep this record. The recommendation for Certificate 3 is that you complete 3 units per term to get through the course in 12 months. So obviously if you're wanting to do it quicker than that, you need to do more units, or if you're taking the full year, 2 years, you would be able to stretch it out further. Our recommendation is though that most students can very comfortably complete the Certificate 3 in the 12-month period, if not less. I would be keeping this very visible and keeping this in front of you to help you track where you are actually up to with what you're doing. So that is in Chapter 6. Chapter 7, there's an authority to publish, which I would like you to do because from time to time I find it very helpful for yourself and for other students to actually be able to use your work to show students a model of what it might look like. Now obviously it's very important that students don't plagiarise, and it's something that we watch very, very carefully, that people aren't just copying and pasting. But if I was in a class situation face to face with you, I'd be showing you examples of the work. We're not in that situation, and one way is to share excellent work that other students have done. So I will respect if you don't want that to be done with your work. That is perfectly fine. That is a choice. But I won't know unless you have actually filled in this authority to publish chapter for me so that I can respect your wishes on that. Just going back and into the welcome there. Chapter 8 in this book gives you an assessment layout, just a suggestion of the way that an assessment might look, and that can be very helpful for you when you're just starting. Also upload instructions, which are also on the assessment upload site. When you've completed your whole course, there's some feedback that you can give us. And in chapter 11, we talk about the referencing of your work, which is something that we will deal with later on in more detail, but something we definitely expect. But please don't panic. I have some very nice ways of helping you with that. So I'm just going to click on my navigation here, Certificate 3, which will take me back to our actual home page. So when I've completed and read through all of that, I would recommend that you put a tick in that so you know you've done that. Now we come to the rest of the home page, and you'll notice that it's laid out according to what we call the packaging rules. So in the Certificate 3, there are 6 core units, which are all right at the beginning here, and we recommend that you do those first. You will find that you will be automatically enrolled in those 6 units, because without those units you cannot course complete. Again, it is important that you are aware of what you're doing and the structure of what you're doing. So each of these units are laid out there to begin with in Certificate 4. Your core units are listed right at the beginning again. Now, the order in which you do these units is not critical. They're not in sequential order. Some people choose to work through them one at a time because they like to work that way. Other people tend to jump all around. Some students like to have a couple of units on the go at the same time, and that is fine again. I would recommend, though, that you don't have more than 2 units going at the one time, because it can get a bit messy and things don't get actually completed. So that's just my observation from seeing quite a number of students go through, that 2 units I'm very happy for you to be working on at the same time, but we get more than that and I find students get a little bit lost. Underneath that is the elective units. Now again, for each course there was a different number. In the Certificate 3 there's 6 elective units. In Certificate 4 there's more, and Diploma there's more again. Now under these you will not need to complete all of them. The rules are here very clearly. In this case, 4 units from Group A, which this is Group A. So you can select 4 units to complete from this. Now when you have completed your core units, this is something that in one of our telephone calls we'll discuss what you're trying to achieve, where you're going with your course, particularly if you're doing Certificate 3, if you're wanting to do Certificate 4, which units are embedded in the Certificate 4, which will give you RPL when you go to do your Certificate 4, and those kinds of things. So we do some planning before you start your elective units. Please don't stress out about that. There is no rush. You don't have to make that selection as soon as you enroll. We can make that later on once you're well into the course. So there's quite a number. There's obviously more than 4 units. You can select what you like. When we come down to Group B, it gives you the rules, 2 units. Now you can select 2 more from Group A if you would prefer, or 2 from Group B here. Or you might have completed Certificate 2, 3 or 4 in another course, and the units also will be recognised in this certificate. So there's a number of options there for you. Again, please don't tick until you have actually completed those units fully. This gives you a bit of a visual cue as to where you're up to, how you're going. For example, if you're coming up to the end of term 1, I would expect at least 3 of these core units, if not more, to have been completed. End of term 3, I would expect all of these core units to be term 2, sorry, I would expect all of these to be completed. Then end of term 3, I would expect to also see at least 3 out of the electives to be completed. Again, the order in which you do them is not something that we stipulate. That is a choice that you make in discussion with myself and any other of the teachers that you happen to be discussing this with. But particularly discussing it with me is helpful because it gives me an idea of where you're going, and I can continue to encourage and support you in that. So that's an overview of your home page. It is really important that you keep your eye on this. You'll also notice here that you can also have your latest news blog or your calendar showing in your side view there, or you can again have that all removed. That's purely up to yourself, which view is most comfortable for you.